Hey, and welcome back to SHEEN Webisodes, where style meets sustainability. I'm your host, the founder of SHEEN, a brand rooted in sustainable and ethical practices. Today, we are joined by a wonderful guest, Stephanie Hernandez. Stephanie, she's the founder of Thrift the District, a sustainable styling service based in DC. In this webisode, we're diving into the ways fashion and personal well-being intersect. We'll explore how clothes connect to our emotions, how thrifting and mindful fashion can empower us, and what it looks like to balance entrepreneurship, mental health, and motherhood. This is a warm conversation that blends storytelling with the practical insights, and I can't wait for you to join us here. So let's get started. Hey, and thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here on SHEEN Webisodes. I'm right here in front of our lovely guest, Stephanie Hernandez. Welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, it is my pleasure to have you on the webisode. Thank you very much for joining. Please, we'll start with the introduction of yours.
Okay. So I'm Stephanie Hernandez, and I am the founder of Thrift the District, which is a sustainable fashion company where I help clients figure out how to find personal style, but using a secondhand market. So that's what that looks like is either going into their home and helping them put outfits together with things they already own, or going out to the thrift store and finding them secondhand clothes and accessories and shoes. And I also just launched doing that with home decor and furniture, which has been really fun.
Lovely.
And help people go through their closet and decide what to keep and what to get rid of, and teaching them where to donate things so that they hopefully don't end up in a landfill.
Amazing. I mean, that's the conscious mindset we always should have in our mind. So yeah, we'll start from the beginning, from your story, and just go step by step how you ended up in this sustainability. So we talk about, and in the earlier your career, you started a job. What was that? How did you end up there?
So yeah, my first job out of college was in social work. My very first job was working with new moms and their little babies in their homes, which was fun. But I was 22 years old. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just read a book about, how to bond with your baby and,
Okay.
Don't shake the baby, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And then I ended up going back to grad school and I got my master's degree in social work. And I started doing some more intense kind of populations. So like child protective services, sexual assault, domestic violence. And then my longest job as a social worker was doing adult protective services, which is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's the same as child protective services, but it's for older adults and checking on them if there was some sort of report of abuse, neglect, or exploitation.
I see. Wow.
So I was doing home visits.
That's intense.
It was super intense. A lot of times you would knock on somebody's door because it was always unannounced. They had no idea you were coming. They had no idea who you were. And you would knock on someone's door and they would say who are you? You're like, well, I'm with the county and I'm here to check on you. And they would always say, who called?
Oh, wow. That's, yeah. So how did you find out those houses? Do they sign up or you get to hear from somebody?
It was always a report.
Okay.
So that's why they would always say who called, because someone had called to tell us we think this person might need help or we think this person might be in trouble, and we need you to check on them. So it was usually a neighbor or a family member or a doctor, or just somebody in the community that noticed them and felt like the county should go check on them.
So even your doctor can call you.
Yeah, actually, doctors are what they call mandated reporters, which is also social workers.
Okay.
Anybody in a certain field where you're taking care of somebody's well-being, then you're a mandated reporter, which means if you see something that could be abuse, neglect, or exploitation, then you are mandated by the county to call it in.
Is it across U.S. or just some counties?
I think that's across the US. I mean, I think it might vary who is defined as a mandated reporter
Okay.
per jurisdiction, but
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's across the
Oh,
US.
I thought the doctors cannot give it away, whatever it is.
If somebody's in trouble and they need help,
Ah,
mm, it's kind
that's
of like when you're with a therapist and they're like, I'm not going to tell anybody what we talk about unless you say you're going to harm yourself or somebody else.
oh, so there are exceptions
Right.
that they
For
use.
safety
Wow.
concerns.
So how when you approach to somebody and they say who called you and what are the next step
I'm not
looks
allowed to
like?
say. I wasn't allowed to
Okay, I
say.
know that. There's the
Yeah,
reason behind it, but how do you
right.
handle that situation? Do they allow you to get into the house or what you do at that time?
Sometimes they would and sometimes they wouldn't.
Okay.
So a lot of times I would try to use my charm and my, like, "Oh, I'm just here to, like, chat with you and see how you're doing," and,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, I notice you have a cat in your house. Can I say hi to your cat?"
Okay.
Just, like, find some other way to get my foot in the door because they get very fixated on who called
Right.
and, like, "I'm fine, leave me alone."
Hmm.
So if you kind of, like, change the subject and maybe comment on something like, "Oh, I love your sweater," or like, "Oh, what's that picture I see on the wall? Who's that?" And then they get, "Oh, this was my daughter," and blah, blah, blah. And then they end up sometimes inviting you inside, and then you can have a conversation with them.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so most of the time, if they asked who the caller was, we would just say, "Well, we're not allowed to say, but the fact is somebody's concerned about you, and we're just here to check on you. And as long as everything's okay, then I'll be on my way."
Is this related to mostly with the kids or about the adults itself too, if they want to harm themselves or
Oh, the person that I'm visiting?
yeah.
So most of the time it was them harming themselves, which is called self-neglect.
Okay.
So like they weren't taking their medications.
Uh,
They maybe are leaving the stove on by accident. They're like not getting to the grocery store enough so that all their food is moldy and gross,
uh.
or they're not cleaning up after themselves so that their house is like full of
So
bugs.
then somebody inside called you then, if these are the things.
I mean, sometimes yes, other times you can just like see somebody out in the community and you can tell that they're a bit disheveled and maybe their memory has been going
I
and
see.
they're
What we call
or
dementia, right? That thing?
dementia.
Right.
Mhm. That's right.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, there's dementia, delirium, and there was Alzheimer's, and they're all like sort of interrelated, but also sort of different.
Hmm.
So anyway, it was a lot.
How
It was a
long
lot.
did you work in this?
This particular job I did for 5 years.
5 years. The
Mhm.
the the babies eat the thing that you did in the very first job, it was that called the
With the babies.
babysitting or
Yeah.
okay.
Well, it wasn't babysitting. It was we would get like recommendations from the hospital for people that they thought could use our help,
Uh-huh.
like people who were maybe new to the country and didn't really know the language, or maybe a teen mom,
Okay.
or maybe just somebody who is very overwhelmed and just they could tell is very anxious
Mm.
and just maybe needed some extra support. So then they would tell the mom to call us. They would say, "There's this program, it's free, and somebody will come into your house and teach you about how to bond with your baby, teach you how to keep your baby safe, teach you about your baby's development. And if you want them to come in, they'll come in for once a week for like, I forget how long we went, a couple months."
Wow. And that
And so I would go in and just like talk to the mom, but the baby also, baby would also be there.
yeah. Usually what kind of issues that, new moms faces and you realize that, these are the things that mostly are common in new moms.
I mean, it's a lot, but the mom could be dealing with postpartum depression.
Huh.
They could be dealing with feeling very overwhelmed, feeling anxious. Um, some people like stop taking care of themselves because they're just so focused on the baby. So they're like not eating as much as they should. They're not sleeping as much as they should. Lack of sleep is a big thing.
Ah,
Um, yeah, so kind of like losing yourself and being hyper focused on the baby and kind of forgetting to take care of yourself. Or just like not really knowing about how to care for a baby. Like when I first became a mom, even though I did this job, and mind you, this was like 15 years ago, so I
I
didn't
was coming
remember
there.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I first became a mom, I was like, wait, how do you swaddle the baby? And like, how am I supposed to clean the bottles? And like breastfeeding was like a whole thing that you had to learn.
Ah,
And pumping. There's so many different things that like you just don't know unless you take the time to go to a class or read a book or
right.
and then there's like sleep training eventually and
Sleep
oh
training.
yeah.
What is that?
So once the baby gets to be a certain age
Okay.
and like weight and the doctor says it's okay, then you can start kind of letting the baby cry it out so that you're not going in every single time you hear the baby make a little, cry
Mm,
or noise,
okay.
so that eventually the baby learns how to self-soothe and they can go back to sleep on their own.
But you keep an eye on them with a camera.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a whole method. There are all these different schools of thought on, like, how to do it. The way that we did it was, she would cry, and then we would start a timer on our phone
Okay.
for 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and if she went back to sleep within those 5 minutes, great. And if she was still crying by the end of the 5 minutes, we would go in and say, like, "There, it's okay.
Wow.
Back to sleep." And obviously, if she needed something like a diaper change or
Mm-hmm.
feeding, we would do that. But
Right.
if she was just having a hard time getting back to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
the goal is to get them to learn how to do it on their own.
Right. So I also heard there's always a debate about how old a kid should be when he start eating the meal that we eat, but not just the
Yeah,
milk.
solid foods.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I was told by our pediatrician that it's okay to start feeding solid foods around like 6 months.
Okay.
And that's what I read in some of the books
Mm-hmm.
that I
But does it also go by case too, or usually it's just 6 months?
um I think it's typically 6 months unless like the baby's severely underweight, they might say like it's okay to start giving them like rice cereal or something like that just to like bulk them up a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But I think in general
I see.
it's 6.
Okay. That's good to know. I mean, I also heard the same thing, 6 months.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's kind of, I think, good amount of age
right.
is enough, right?
And it's something else that I would teach the parents that I was working with in that job.
Uh-huh.
And also, like, another thing I had no idea until I had that job was as you're introducing the foods, you have to do it 1 new food per week
Oh,
to see if they have any allergies.
I see.
Because if you give them, like, 2 or 3 different new foods that week and they have a reaction,
You don't
then you don't
know.
know what they were reacting to.
Right. Oh, wow. That makes sense. I didn't know that. I mean, I
Yeah,
never thought of
so
that.
so much you don't know.
Of course.
Like, I had just I mean, I remember learning some of this stuff back then, but then when I became a mom, it was like learning things all over again.
Hmm. I see. So, how was it because you were doing a job and you were looking at the mother as a client to serve or tell them?
Mm.
But when you become a mom by yourself, how do you think, or how can you now feel them, how they feel at that time, or how
Oh,
that
yeah.
does change your perspective?
I mean, definitely. I think back then, like I said, I was 22.
Hmm.
I was just out of college.
Yeah.
I was like more focused on like, what am I going to do when I get off work? you know, I'm going to go hang out with my boyfriend and like go get drinks with my girlfriends or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, like I enjoyed helping them. I felt a sense of satisfaction and pride
Hmm.
supporting them during this like very intense transition.
Right.
But then when I became a mom, it's like I finally could see like what they were going through because I
Mhm.
didn't completely really understand back
Ah,
then. I was just kind of like, yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it so much. Like maybe downplaying things a little bit. And then when it happened to me, like everything seems like a very big deal. and it's a bit more serious, a bit more intense.
I see. Okay. So yeah, you only can feel it when you actually in that situation, I believe.
Yeah, because like I've had a lot of friends who've had kids before me. My sister had her son before I had my daughter, and like you just don't really know what it's like until you experience it yourself and the intensity of it.
Right. Wow. That's cool. Also, I remember that you told me that you were also work as a therapist or being in a
Mm.
therapy. How does that process or thing look like? What particular thing that you were helping in therapy?
Yeah, so after I did the adult protective services job, I decided I wanted to try doing therapy.
Mhm.
So luckily while I was doing the adult protective services job, I got my supervision to become licensed.
Huh.
So that's like an extra step after getting your master's degree to become a licensed clinical social worker. So I did that process, which meant I could then do therapy.
Hmm.
Um, and I ended up working at a mental health hospital, specifically in the eating disorder unit, which again was very intense. So, yeah, so I worked with people who had anorexia, bulimia, people who were overeating, and it was a fascinating experience,
Okay.
and it was rewarding,
Okay.
and it would help these people, but it was also extremely challenging
Mhm.
because these mental health conditions are one of the highest rates of morbidity. So, like, these are the people that die the most from this mental health condition
Mhm.
because they're literally killing themselves
Okay.
by starving themselves.
Wow.
So when I would work with a patient in the hospital
Mhm.
and they would discharge, like they would finally get to a point where they can leave,
Uh-huh.
it was exciting because you felt like, okay, they're finally at a good point where they can kind of support themselves out in the community. But you also felt like, I really hope this person makes it, you know? It's just,
You're
it's
not even
very,
sure about that.
no,
Oh.
no, there were sometimes we would have the people come back to visit and they were doing great.
Uh-huh.
And then a few times while I was working there, we would hear about people who were like back in the hospital, some people who had passed away.
Mhm.
So it was really challenging and another very intense population to work with.
Wow. So
Yeah.
how would what would you say for working in this medical industry for a long while? What did you learn the most or the thing about life or physical or mental health like that?
Um, I think what I learned is that you really have to meet people where they are because if you start kind of pushing somebody towards a goal or like trying to force them to move on from something,
Mhm.
they're just going to push back more
Mhm.
because you're bringing them to a place that they're not ready for, and you really have to listen and be that mirror for them, help them do reflection to understand, like, for themselves why it makes sense to move on, why it makes sense to make changes in their life.
Yeah.
Because if you're just yeah, sometimes it's so clear to you as the therapist what is the reasoning behind what they're doing, the reason behind the behavior,
Yeah.
and the reason why they use the coping skills that they use. And when I say coping skills, I don't mean just like positive, helpful coping skills. I mean like could be negative coping skills, things that are taking them in a darker place.
Okay.
Um, it can be so clear to you as the therapist, but if that person doesn't see it or that person doesn't isn't ready for it, it doesn't matter.
Huh.
They need to be the ones to move through it and have those light bulb moments on their own to be able to move past it and to be able to grow and hopefully heal.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, only a therapist can understand that better than any other person. That how they feel or what are the things that they're going from or their perspective of the things that how
Yeah.
they look at the things.
Right. And that's sort of like one of the main points about therapy, right? Is like
Mm,
having somebody who's not in it,
right.
who is a totally unbiased party,
Uh-huh.
listen and kind of help guide you towards a path of recovery, a path of being healthy, whatever the goal is.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. I mean, thank you very much for explaining. And also, it's much of a, I would say, an awareness for the people who don't know about these things, so
Mm,
they can understand their point of view better too and be kind to them, you know, to see, to understand the situation that they're going through.
right.
And all being said, you work in that industry for so long.
Mhm.
How did you get into the fashion?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yes. We talk about that thing for over 20 minutes now. But
I know. Well, it was a big part of my life,
yes, exactly. I want to give it time. I
Yeah,
want to appreciate that and,
right.
think that whatever the experiences that you
It was
did.
like kind of my foundation of my
Right.
adulthood, my foundation of my career.
Exactly. And I also wanted to make a point that it's like a completely different shift from from that industry to this one, or to be more
Mm.
conscious about the fashion thing. So how did that change happen to you?
So all throughout my social work and therapy career,
Mhm.
I was thrifting.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, and I was one of my most favorite parts about working in an office
Mhm.
was figuring out what I was gonna wear.
Ah. Okay.
So, like, every night I would go to sleep and I would think about, like, "What should I wear tomorrow?" And I would start, like, looking into my closet through my mind
Okay.
and, like, putting outfits together,
Uh-huh.
and I would think, "Okay, tomorrow, let's see, it's gonna be a little bit chilly, it might be a little bit rainy, and I'm gonna be doing these home visits, so I need comfortable shoes, I need, like,
Mm.
waterproof shoes, but I also wanna look cute." So I would just start thinking about, like, "What should I wear tomorrow?"
Right.
And then, um, that was just one of my most favorite parts. I would put on, like, a cute outfit, I would go to the office, and people would always comment, like, "Oh, you always look so cute," and
Right.
wear heels sometimes, like, if I just had meetings at the office or, like, was just doing paperwork,
Hmm.
I would and people would always comment like, "Oh, you," because I worked with people of all different ages.
Yes.
Some of the more experienced colleagues would comment on my heels.
Okay.
"You guys wearing heels," and one day we're gonna realize you can't do that anymore.
Okay.
Um,
So those were the thing that made your day at that time.
yeah, yeah. And then, during my lunch break, I would go to the thrift store
Okay.
because there were a bunch of different thrift stores near my office.
Okay.
And so it would just like something to look forward to.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, I'm going to go over to the Goodwill and just see if they have any more like, oh, I need more cardigans or what. I would make an excuse, and go over there.
Right.
Go with my coworkers sometimes. I would say, like, anybody want to go thrifting on lunch break? And some people would come with me. And it was a nice way to like bond with them.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I think during those early jobs, I really enjoyed getting dressed. I really enjoyed thrifting
Mhm.
and was really like I took pride in putting these cute outfits together from things I had found at the thrift store.
Right.
It wasn't just like I went to Ann Taylor Loft and got like a whole new wardrobe
Right.
from them. It's like I specifically went hunting for these cool, fun pieces. And then my husband got a job in New Jersey. It was basically when I was at the mental health hospital. He got this new job and he was like, "I think we should move to New Jersey and I can try out this other job." And I was like, "I don't really want to move to New Jersey. I want to move to New York."
Okay.
So that was the compromise. So we moved to New York and he worked in New Jersey.
Okay.
And then I didn't have my social work license in New York.
Mm.
And I was getting pretty exhausted from all the intense jobs I had had over the course of those years.
Okay.
So I told my husband, I think I'm actually not going to do social work when we move.
Hmm.
I'm just going to like explore other options.
Okay.
And I was, very lucky that he was very supportive of that. And so I quit my job at the mental health hospital. We moved. And for the first few months, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any job. I think that was like the first time in my adulthood that I just didn't have a job. And it was very strange,
Okay.
but I was lucky that I got to explore these different paths. So I actually worked for a theater company at first in the props department, which was super
Where
interesting.
were you in the New York at that time?
Where was I in New York?
Yeah.
In the Upper West Side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And I worked at this theater downtown. Um, what was it called? Theater for the New City or something like that. And I worked in their props department for a while. I was helping out their props master. And that was interesting,
Uh-huh.
but I ended up deciding that's not really what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And then it was like, I really love clothes. I love fashion.
Uh-huh.
Let me see if I can try and get a job in fashion. I'm in New York. What's the worst that could happen? So,
I
so I
love that.
started, right.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So I started applying for entry level fashion jobs,
Uh-huh.
and I ended up getting this job with a men's subscription box company.
Uh-huh.
So it was a startup company.
Okay.
It was called Bombfell, and it doesn't exist anymore,
Okay.
but it was a really interesting learning experience for me.
Uh-huh.
I learned because I had never had like a corporate job before.
Okay.
So it was just learning so many different things. Like I had never used Excel, I had never used Word, I had never needed to like learn about analytics.
Right.
Um, we had like all hands meetings, and I had to come up with like quarterly reports.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big learning curve, but it was super interesting. And it was really inspiring working with all these like very fashionable, stylish people
Okay.
in New York City.
Yes.
So I
Of
felt like I had
course.
to like keep up with everybody.
Yes. Yes. It's kind of
And
race in Manhattan itself.
yeah,
Especially when you're
yeah,
working in corporate. I know that.
exactly.
Right.
So that was all like brand new to me. I was working in Midtown, and I was still like relatively new to the city. So it was a lot of new.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it was interesting. I ended up getting promoted to be a manager,
Nice. In the same
and
company?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And I still have really close friends from that time, which I'm super grateful for. But at the end of the day, it still didn't really feel like the right fit just because it felt like the goal was to expand the company, to build more money for the company, to make the brand, more like, what's the word when a brand becomes bigger? Like,
The scaling up?
yeah, scaling it.
Okay.
And so it was like about business
Okay.
at the end of the day and
Hmm.
making money.
Yes.
And it just, to me, I just didn't feel like that was really aligning with my values. So I like the fact that it was helping people because the whole point of this subscription box company was to help men find their own personal style
Okay.
and shipping them clothes and showing them how to put outfits together.
Hmm.
And then they would keep whatever they liked and they would send back what didn't fit or they didn't like.
Okay.
And so I like that we were like helping these men across the country
Right.
figure out their personal style, but it wasn't very personal because it was all done over email.
I see. Okay. So it was kind of online thing.
It was an online
So
thing. It's like stitching
so were
for
you
men.
with the stylist at that time, or you were just on the
Yeah,
computer?
I started as a stylist,
Okay.
And then I ended up becoming a manager
Mm.
of stylists.
Wow.
And so instead of me working directly with the clients, I was helping those stylists to learn how to work with the clients and how to increase their metrics.
Amazing.
Yeah.
S-
So I ended up not staying there.
But before moving to the next topic, I'm gonna ask a few questions
Sure.
for one man who are actually looking for his style. I'm
Mm.
not gonna say his name, but what are your suggestions?
Right.
What are the tips or the tricks for the men to look more better?
Well, a lot of it has to do with fit.
Okay.
So that was one thing that we worked on with our clients is we made sure that they had accurate measurements.
Uh-huh.
And we actually had videos on our website that showed you how to take all of your measurements.
I see.
So like the measurements of your shoulders, of your chest, of your waist, of your inseam.
Mm-hmm.
So fit was a huge part of it.
Okay.
And then also deciding like, do you like more of a loose or baggy fit? Do you like
Uh,
more of a fitted and slim fit?
at that time, what was the trend? Baggy or fit? I believe it was
It
fit.
depended on where they were in the country.
Oh.
So, like, if it was people in the Midwest,
Mm-hmm.
they typically swayed more towards like baggy or loose.
Okay.
And if it was people on like either coast,
Mm-hmm.
they typically swayed towards more fitted or slim.
Any particular reason behind that?
I think it just has to do with like culture, like Midwestern culture. I mean, maybe in certain big cities it was a little bit different, but if they lived maybe out in the burbs or even more rural communities,
Uh-huh.
it's just more of a like cultural a baggy fit is more like accepted,
Mm, I see.
I guess.
Yeah.
And whereas like if you live on the coasts, you're probably living in more of like a metropolitan, bigger city.
Right.
And at that time, this was like 10 years ago,
Hmm.
like a slim fit or a fitted
Yeah. Yeah.
look was more in. So fit was a big thing.
Right.
And then so like figuring out what you're drawn to.
Okay.
So like some clients who are really drawn to a classic look, you know, like a plaid shirt or a striped shirt
Mm,
or like a gingham, something that's like kind of more traditional. And then some clients liked more of an edgy, out there kind of look.
okay.
So like they wanted more like texture with their shirts
Mm,
or they wanted like bright colored pants. They wanted something more unexpected, more out of the box. So it's like fit and then like what are you drawn to?
I see.
And like how do you want to express yourself with your clothes?
Right. So, what are the particular things if a man do order and buy just whatever the things that he ordered or has a style, you say, "Oh, this guy has a good taste." To you,
To me,
to me, yeah.
um, I loved it when guys like to be a bit more out of the box and more fashion forward. So
Okay.
like people who were like, I love a bold print.
Uh-huh.
I love mixing colors.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, stuff like that I found more interesting to style for because the traditional look, I think it can look very sleek and streamlined, but it doesn't really have any bite to it. It's
Okay.
a little plain, which is fine. It's just I think it's I love clothes. I love playing with style. So somebody who also likes that kind of thing,
Hmm.
that gets me excited.
I see. Nice. I mean, yeah, that's it. Good enough to know that. Now we can move on with
Okay.
with your thing. Thank you for that. What you did after?
Oh,
Were
okay.
you that in the company at that time when they closed, or it happened after you left?
So my company actually didn't start until much later.
Okay.
So if you really want me to get into all the details, after this job, I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to do,
Mm,
even though I realized social work wasn't it. this like fashion business company. That wasn't it.
Huh.
And so I ended up getting a job at a nonprofit
Okay.
and I did fundraising.
Wow.
And that was still in New York. It was for a very small nonprofit called Global Nomads Group.
Uh-huh.
And their mission was to help youth have conversations across cultures. So it was like an international company, and they were helping youth to have the kind of like difficult conversations about like their differences,
Mm,
but showing them how similar they are in the
nice.
grand scheme of things.
Yeah, we need
And
that
so
in New York.
that was a cool
Yeah.
job.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I learned a lot again, and I got to like run and plan a bunch of events, which was really neat. And again, one of my most favorite things about the job was getting dressed.
In nonprofit? Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
went.
when you go to meet the people.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to an office, and I would have to like go search for different venues for events. I
Nice.
would have to meet with donors. I was part of our board meetings, so I really enjoyed like figuring out what my outfits were going to be. And then I learned a lot about like strategy and how to like plan ahead 5, 10 years down the road for like how you want the organization to look.
Okay.
And that was never something I had to do in my previous jobs.
Uh-huh.
So that was really interesting
Nice.
and kind of expanded my viewpoint and my abilities.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I did that for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then the pandemic happened,
Okay.
and we moved from New York back to DC, which is where we're from.
Okay.
And we decided we wanted to have a baby. And so, yeah, I eventually got
Beautiful.
pregnant, and I took some time off when my baby was born.
Uh-huh.
And then when I came back from maternity leave, I guess things shifted when I became a parent, and I just realized if I'm going to be spending all day away from my daughter working, it has to be something that I'm extremely passionate about and something that makes me feel like I'm making the world a better place for her.
Wow. Wow.
And even though the nonprofit that I was working for had a very beautiful mission that I believed in,
Yeah.
it wasn't like something that made me feel 100% I want to be away from my daughter doing this every day.
Um,
So I had to kind of reconcile with that
okay.
and decide again to leave the job and try something else.
I see.
And that was a really hard decision, but
I understand.
I did.
I see.
And then I had the idea for the Thrift the District business for many years, but I just had never really like bit the bullet and tried to make it work. So I ended up working with a career coach, which was really helpful. And I told her in my mind, I have three different options. I can stay home full time with my daughter. I can find another nonprofit job that makes me feel more connected, or I can start my own business. And she was like, "What's this business idea? Like, tell me more about that."
Okay.
So I started telling her my idea. Like, I want to help people find personal style. I want to help people put outfits together that make them feel confident,
Uh-huh.
but I also want to do it from a secondhand market and teach people about sustainability. And she was like, "Well, that sounds amazing.
It
Like,
does.
why don't you do that?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, no, lots of reasons. I'm scared. It doesn't work. What if I'm away from my daughter all the time? Because people are only free on nights and weekends.
Right.
And just, what if I don't make enough money
Mm-hmm.
doing it?" It's lots of fears
Right.
that were bubbling up. And she was like, "Well, you know what? You won't know until you try."
Yeah. That's right.
And that's fair. So I said, "Let me try. And in the background, I'll be looking for another."
Okay.
So that was my like compromise to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I did was I crafted an email explaining that I was gonna be doing and I sent it to like 100 people in my life.
Okay.
And
Wow.
I just said, like, guess what? I'm starting a business and this is what it's going to be about. And if you or anybody you know would be interested, let me know. And so a few people got in touch
Okay. Nice.
and started working, you know, doing these services that I just made up. I was
Mhm.
like, this would be a cool service to provide. This would be a cool service to provide.
Right.
And people started hiring me.
Huh.
And then I started posting about it on my community groups on Facebook, and I put flyers up in my neighborhood. I started an Instagram, I created a website, and then people kept hiring me.
Wonderful.
And I was getting really great feedback. People saying, like, this was so helpful. Like, I'm excited to get dressed again. I feel like it's, I look forward to putting my outfits together for work now. And before I was dreading it.
Yeah.
And it made me feel so fulfilled
Uh-huh.
that not only was I helping build people's confidence, but I was also helping them learn that they could use what they already own
Right.
first and foremost.
Right.
But if they don't have what they need, they can find it from a secondhand market, or I can find it for them.
Exactly.
It's
Right.
from a second market. And yeah, and so now almost 2 years later, I'm still doing it.
Wonderful. I mean, it's such a wonderful perspective and a mission, and I hope it's fulfilling you that you're looking for the main thing. And it's just amazing. I mean, it does the idea. And of course, if you're making a difference, you're saving people's money instead of buying a
Mhm.
new things, and they can use whatever they have in their closet first. If they need something, they could do thrifting, and it's way more cheaper than buying a new one and better
Yeah,
quality, of course.
yeah,
So,
exactly. It's saving them money, it's saving them time,
right,
and it's saving the environment
exactly.
because the more people who choose secondhand, then the less need there will be for producing more clothes,
100%. Right,
right?
exactly. So, how did you come up with the name Thrift the District?
Um,
It was because you were focusing on your district, or what was the reason?
well, yeah, because I live in DC,
Okay,
District of Columbia.
okay,
Um, I came up with like a bunch of different names, and this is just the one I liked the most.
okay.
I wasn't
It's
like,
a good one,
oh,
actually.
I'm definitely gonna call it Thrift the District. It's just
It's
like
rhyming, you know? It's syncing and
oh
rhyming.
yeah,
Right.
it's like a sing-songy
Yeah.
vibe to it. Yeah. Also, when I forgot to mention this, when I was a social worker,
Uh-huh.
I had a fashion blog,
Mm. Okay.
and it was called um, Thrift and Style.
I see. So
So I like kind of
so the thrifting is in your DNA,
yeah.
I would say, because you were doing it from the beginning, since the beginning.
Yes. So I was sharing my thrifted outfits on my fashion blog
Okay.
back in the day when those were like really big, you know.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
You remember that time.
exactly. So because you did so much thrifting and you're still supporting it, what are the tips that you're gonna give to a person who just gonna start thrifting or the people who don't know about thrifting? What kind of
That's
a
yeah.
phenomena is this?
So like if somebody wanted to go thrifting for themselves, what would I suggest?
Yeah, basically.
Um First I would say go with like a specific list in mind of what you want to look for.
Okay.
So
You're the
and maybe
I'm sorry to cut you off again, but this is a third person in thrift as a thrift advocate who told me this. Everybody that I asked, they say, go with the list that you need,
mm-mm,
the things that you need.
mhm, yeah.
Okay.
So like throughout your everyday life
Mm-hmm.
when you're like realizing that you need something,
Right.
add it to your notes app.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have my thrift list on my notes app.
Okay.
And then like once I realize like, oh, I really need to get like, I don't know, a new denim jacket or whatever.
Okay.
I put it on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I do end up going to the thrift store, I have my like go-to items already like written down because I'm a very forgetful person. So if I don't write it down, I forget it. So I have my thrift list ready to go. And if you get super overwhelmed with thrifting or like shopping in general,
Hmm.
I would say like limit it to only 3 things.
Okay.
Because if you go with a list of like 15 things,
Right.
that's that's already a challenge in itself.
It is, and I believe actually it's all. Of course, it's thrifting that you're doing, but it's overconsumption. You're
That's
still
true.
buying
Yeah, even
more
if
than
you're
that you need.
that's right.
Right.
That's exactly right. So, yeah, I would say, like, no more than, like, 3 or 4 specific things. So, like, I need more, like, shoes for work.
Hmm.
I need more wide leg pants. I need more whatever the case may be. And then you go to the thrift store, and then they have most thrift stores, if they know what they're doing, they have different sections just like a regular store.
Right.
That's like a women's section, a men's section, a children's section,
Hmm.
and then they'll like, within the women's section, they have dresses. Within the men's section, they have, like, dress shirts or whatever.
Hmm.
So you can go to that specific section, find your size, and just for me, I think it's really helpful to look through every single item on the rack, because if you're just kind of scanning, you're not really getting a good sense of what's there, and it's also a really good idea to, touch the fabric, because after you go a few times and you get a sense for it, you can figure out, like, which fabrics feel more quality
Okay.
than the others. And then if you're looking at the tag, you can also see from the type of fabric, like, is it 100% organic cotton or is it 100% polyester, right? So you start to know which materials are making up
Do
like a
you
more quality.
recommend to buy polyester from the thrift store?
If it's vintage, yes.
What do you mean by vintage?
So if it's something that is, um, I think it's like anything that's like 20 years in the past or more is
Okay.
considered vintage, pretty sure.
And but why is that? Why would
Why
you go with that old, uh, kind of a polyester t-shirt or material?
right. I mean, it depends on your preference, really,
Okay.
but I like just if something's vintage and it's 100% polyester, I'll still get it because I think it's cool, like, if it's something from the '70s,
Hmm.
something from the '60s or whatever, um, I still think that's, like, an interesting, unique piece,
Wow.
and I'm saving it from a landfill, so
Hmm.
I feel okay getting that,
I don't think I
but
have
if
ever
it's
seen any this old vintage piece of the plastic.
yeah?
Yeah. Or
Well, there
maybe I
I
did.
think
I don't know.
there's a decent amount of polyester from, like, the '70s.
Oh,
Like, I think this, for example, might be polyester. I think this is from the '70s or the '80s.
wow. That looks good.
Mhm.
That looks new.
Right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and I got this on a trip I was at because whenever I travel, I always go to a thrift store because I love like, I'll get, like, one thing,
Okay.
like, help me remember my trip.
Hmm. Nice. The stories, that what's the thing. I mean, whatever you buy, there should be thing with it that reminds you of something. There's a story,
Yeah,
should be a story behind it, not just,
yeah,
just buying things and
and it
like
doesn't
that.
even have to be a piece of clothing, like, I'll get, like,
Right.
some, like, stud earrings or, like, a pin,
Right.
like, usually something small because my suitcase is usually already pretty full.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so the quality of the item, you
Uh-huh.
can tell by touching it, you can tell by looking at the tag,
Okay.
and if you go to a thrift store and they don't have a dressing room, because sometimes they don't have dressing rooms,
Uh-huh.
then you should
Yeah.
go prepared, like, wear leggings or, like sometimes I'll
Oh,
just wear, like, a very loose skirt,
okay.
so if I wanted to try pants on, I can just try them on, like, underneath the skirt,
Hmm.
or you can wear, like,
That's a
a
good
tank
one.
top if you wanna try on, like, dresses or shirts or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Another fun trick is, like, if you wanna see if a pair of pants fits you, but there's no dressing room and you can't try them on under a skirt or whatever, as long as you, like, keep the button fastened, you can bring the waistband around your neck and touch it and if it touches in the back, then you know it'll fit
Is
your
that
waist.
real? Does that
Yeah,
really fit?
yeah, I've tried it.
Wow. I have seen that in 5 Minutes Craft.
You have?
I said I saw that video in 5 Minutes Craft on YouTube a long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So that's kind of a neat one.
Okay.
And then I always bring water. I always bring a snack. I always bring hand sanitizer.
To thrift store.
Yeah.
Wow. So you,
Because if I'm thrifting, I'm probably going to be there for at least 2 hours.
wow.
I'm going to get thirsty. I'm going to get hungry. And if I'm going to have a snack, I need to wash my hands. So
Wow. It's a whole,
hand sanitizer.
maybe I should have this first and note it down, whatever the things that you need to do.
Yeah.
This is a whole guide.
It's marathon.
You look very serious about it. Okay.
Yeah. It's my sport.
Yes. I respect that.
Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah. So I also was looking at the layout, and I remember you told me a story about where you went to a refashion show and you made an outfit with 80%
Mhm.
reclaimed fabric. What was that?
Mhm. So I was invited to be a stylist
Okay.
for this refashion show.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the second year that they held it
Okay.
in Alexandria, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the only stylist of the whole show.
Okay.
Everyone else were designers.
Ah,
So all the designers put together 8 to 12 looks that had to be made from at least 80% recycled or reclaimed fabric.
okay.
So, and their looks were incredible.
Mm,
And then my role was to just style secondhand looks
mm.
for the show. So I was the only stylist. I was pulling from a thrift store
Right.
to create outfits that were all secondhand. So I think I did 8 looks.
Wow.
And it was really cool and it was really special because most of my models were my former clients.
I see. Okay, that's a good one. But one question, what is reclaimed fabric?
Um so I think recycled fabric is when you like use materials to create a new fabric.
Yes.
And then reclaimed is like just fabric that was already out there. So like maybe it's like a dress that you like cut up and you've used it, like you reclaimed it.
So that basically mean upcycling.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Hmm.
right. Well,
That's my understanding anyway.
I see. How long does okay. How was it to starting those outfits? Was that easy for you? Is that before the New York company that you work in or before that? Or after?
The refashion show?
Yeah.
This just happened like
Oh, recently.
this past summer.
Okay.
I think it was this past June.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a little bit challenging just because like I love fashion shows and I love like looking at like New York Fashion Week, and I think there's one in like Copenhagen that I always like look at the pictures from. So like I know that a, a collection needs to be like cohesive
Okay.
and have kind of like a point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't want to just like put random outfits together and send it down the runway.
Yes.
I wanted it to be like it makes sense and like tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
So that part was challenging. And then because I was using my former clients, I also wanted to make them feel amazing and just like ooze confidence walking down the runway. Because if I was just styling professional models, they have confidence because like if you're not going to be a model unless you already have confidence about like how you look and the way you can walk down a runway.
Right.
So if I were styling just professional models,
Uh-huh.
I would just put them in an outfit and not really get their opinion on it. I would just say like, "Oh, I think this will look great on you. This
Okay.
is what you're going to wear."
Okay.
Because they were my former clients,
Okay.
I wanted to make sure they felt amazing in what they were wearing. So
Uh-huh.
it was more of like a collaborative
Uh-huh.
process,
Okay.
but I still had to figure out a way to make sure it was cohesive and told a story.
Did you try
So
any on yourself too on the runway?
no, I just made sure like whatever I wore kind of went with the theme.
Okay.
So my theme ended up being like 70s.
Oh wow. I love that.
and kind of like bold patterns and bold
Hmm.
colors. And that ended up really working. So yeah, I made sure everybody like did kind of a 70s-ish like makeup and like fun like big earrings and like
Nice.
I think I suggested a few different types of hairstyles to go with
Do you have any
the
pictures of those? Picture or videos?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You want me to send them to you?
Yes, share that with me. I'll try to put that in the webisode so
Yeah,
people can
and
also see.
there were photographers there, there was a videographer there, so I can
Nice,
send you some professional
nice.
photos.
That should work
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah, it went really well, and, I really enjoyed getting to see everybody else's collection, and
Okay,
hopefully they'll invite me back next year.
definitely they will. But how much would you rate your collection when you compare to the other designers that you said there were more people too who were doing the same thing?
Um, I think the level of creativity
Hmm.
with the other collections was, like, on a different level, just because, like, they had to create each garment. They were, like, sewing
Hmm.
and, like, I don't know how else they did it. I mean, some people's looks were just, like, so futuristic and interesting and
Nice.
things I had never seen before.
Hmm.
So it was very inspiring.
Is it was
Mine was just more like, here's an outfit made of clothes that were already constructed,
Oh,
you know?
okay.
And these designers were actually taking, like, fabric or clothes or someone was using, crochet, like, she crocheted all the outfits.
Wow,
So it was just super interesting,
nice. It was
the
like,
creativity.
is it was like DC Fashion Week or what was that?
No, because it was in June,
Oh, okay.
so it was just, like, when we decided we should do the show.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we are almost getting to our time for the episode. But before we go, I want to dive into the Thrift the District. If a
Okay.
person needs your help, how does the process looks like and how they can reach you out?
Okay, so the best way to contact me is either through my email,
Okay.
which is stephanie@thriftthedistrict.com,
Hmm.
or to DM me on my Instagram, and my Instagram is @thriftthedistrict.
Right.
Um, and once somebody reaches out, or you can also fill out the form on my website. There's like a little pop up that says like, "Hi, would you like some help?" And then you can reach out to me there. But the next step would be I would set up a free consultation with that person.
Uh-huh.
So either we do it over Zoom or we do it in person if they live locally.
Okay.
So sometimes, like for example, I just met with somebody earlier this week and we got a coffee and we just chatted and I learned more about like how I could help them, what their style goals are, um, like what they do for a living, and if they go into an office or they stay home, if they're a parent and they need to like be ready to chase after their toddler on the weekend or whatever.
Right.
I get a lot more information from them. I tell them about my services, what I offer,
Mhm.
and that's what I explained to you earlier. It's either a service called the closet refresh, which is like going through the entire closet, shop your closet, which is where we put outfits together with things they already own, or what I call personal thrifter, which is when I go thrift for them and bring them the stuff that I found for them.
Nice.
And then we decide which services they're going to take advantage of. So either like one service or if they want to do a bundle. Um, and then we schedule the appointment and I come over and depending on the service, we dive in. Um, I usually give them a little bit of homework to do before I arrive, which consists of a collaborative Pinterest board
Okay.
so that we can have like inspiration photos to go off of.
Nice.
And I ask them to come up with 2 to 3 style words
Okay.
to use as a guide. So, like, some people come up with, like, approachable or quirky
Hmm.
or colorful
Okay.
or professional. And so they have these words that we use as our guiding light
Mhm.
when we're working together. So if we're putting an outfit together, for example, then we take a look at the style words and we say, like, is it hitting those words? And if it is, then it's probably an outfit that is going to work for them
Right.
and make them feel confident and make them feel like they're expressing themselves. And if it's not hitting those words, then we should try something else.
Hmm. And how long does this whole process look like?
It just depends on which services that they choose to take advantage of. So
Okay.
let's say somebody wants to do all three services.
Okay.
The closet refresh, I typically ask people to give me like 3 to 4 hours of their time
Okay.
to go through their entire closet.
Uh-huh.
And it just depends on the person. Some people have not that many clothes and it might take like an hour and a half. And then some people have a lot of clothes and it might take 2 sessions of 4 hours. So, it just depends. Yeah, because in our culture, consumption is just part of it, right? Like, we're constantly buying things. So a lot of people have a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
And I think part of my work with my clients is to show them that they really don't need that much stuff because it's I think that's part of why they might be having a hard time getting dressed is because there are too many options and there's decision fatigue. So some of my work is just education on like less is more.
Wow. I remember I had one of the stylists before on the webisode, and she told me that she spent 5 days, 12-hour shift with one customer
Yeah.
to rebuilding their wardrobe.
Yeah, I've done
Uh,
that before too.
oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a client once who their adult kids were like out of the house and they were going to be downsizing
Okay.
and they had several closets just filled with clothes. So I think I went over like once a week for 3 hours each time for probably like 4, maybe 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And because they had been living there for like 20, 25 years and
Yeah,
um but they made the conscious decision that they wanted to really pare down
of course.
before moving on to the next chapter. So,
Otherwise, they would have to open their own thrift store then.
I know, basically. I mean, she had really cool stuff,
Yeah.
but it was like she just really didn't need all of that.
Hmm. So what you do, I mean, if the client says, I don't need this stuff, what you do then?
What do they do with the stuff?
Yeah.
It depends. So, if it's really in good condition and it looks like um, something that could sell,
Mhm.
then I encourage them to go to a consignment shop and try to sell it. Some people prefer to use like Poshmark, or
Yeah.
I guess if it's like a really nice brand, they could use the Real Real.
Right.
Um, I also encourage people to use ThreadUp because you can just stuff everything in a bag and they just kind of take care of it for you.
Right.
If it's stuff that isn't nice enough to sell, then I encourage people to donate it. I like Goodwill. I use Goodwill a lot because yes, they are a for-profit company, but they use their profit to help educate and train their staff so that they're able to have a job.
Right.
And job training, I think, is really important
And it.
for like certain populations that maybe didn't have those kinds of resources.
Uh-huh.
Um, but there are also really great organizations like I think it's like the Lupus Foundation. Pretty sure it's the Lupus Foundation. You can like go on their website and schedule a pickup and they'll just come and pick up the stuff that you don't want anymore. And then it's like it's aiding that really important cause. And then the stuff that isn't really nice enough to donate is maybe like falling apart or has a stain on it or whatever the case may be. There are programs where you can order a bag to come to your house. You stuff it with the fabric scraps and then you send it back to them and then they use it as like recycle material.
Nice.
So I think they say like 90% of it, 95%, I don't quote me, won't end up in a landfill.
Nice. I mean, there are so many ways that we can go with instead of throwing out to the landfills and ending up into the garbage. And we
Right.
just have to look out. Google, I think it's the best way, or ChatGPT if you want to use that.
Yeah,
And look for the companies who are available in your county, district, or state, and you can just run it closer.
yeah.
Or
And I'm compiling, like, Word documents with different options for each of these kind of selling, donating, and,
wow.
scrap collection.
Hmm.
So if people work with me, I'm always giving those out.
Ah, amazing. I mean, it's like a free guide, a freebie.
Mhm.
Maybe you should use that on your Instagram. Comment, comment what thrift or whatever the word, and I'll send you the free ebook or so, things like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Right? Because you're
Yeah,
working on it, so why not?
that's right.
It would help
I
your
already have.
business too,
Mhm.
right? Wow, that's amazing. So thank
Yeah,
you very much, Stephanie, for your
thank
time
you.
here on Zayshin Webisodes. It was such an amazing conversation, especially where you started and all the years, decades that you put into the medical field, and then, change to the fashion. And the main thing I would take from this part of this webisode is how important it is to satisfy your inner side, that whatever the thing you're doing should be aligned with your values. It's not just like selling your soul for the
Right.
money. Or one more thing that you said about when you became a mother, that it should be something, I should be more passionate about something if I'm leaving my daughter away for some time.
Mhm.
That's very important. I mean, I know people, and again, the thing you said about New York, especially in New York, they just go to pay for the paychecks and the bills that we all have.
Well, I don't fault them for that.
Hmm.
I think for me, when I worked with my career coach, it became clear to me that I wanted something where I felt super passionate
Yeah.
in my work.
Okay.
But I think other people, for them, it makes more sense to do a job where they make a decent amount of money
Hmm.
and then they can pursue their passions on their, spare time on the weekends or whenever they can.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just for me personally, I wanted to spend my time where my passion lies. And that's not for everybody.
Right.
And I think that's okay. And people should have the right to choose how they want to spend their time. And if it means making enough money
Uh,
to support your family, to have like the life you want, then so be it.
right.
You know,
I like it because it's such a unique, you know, perspective or point of view that you have. And it's, yeah, it's something unique, I would say. And yeah,
yeah,
of course, it depends on the situation where you at. And it
right,
depends on that totally. Whatever or however you like to do, you could do that.
right. I also know some people who like worked really, really hard at a job that they didn't love and made a decent amount of money.
Uh-huh.
And then once they got to a certain point in their life,
Hmm.
they felt comfortable saying, okay, now I want to switch and do something.
Yes,
Like I feel more financially stable now. And now I feel like I can go. And
exactly.
for me, like I'm very lucky that my husband is able to um, provide for our family,
Uh-huh.
you know, the majority on the financial side. And
Nice.
my work, I love it, but it's not I'm not the breadwinner of the family, right? Like I'm not a super expensive service. I'm more reasonable because I want people to be able to afford to work with me. I don't want it to be like an elite type of service.
Nice. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, that's how it should be working too. I mean, you are partners, and that's how you support each other,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you very much again. Before we go, any tips or last words you want to say to the audience?
Um, I think when you're getting dressed every day,
Hmm.
try and think about those style words, right? Like you don't have to be working with me
Okay.
to have style words. You can come up with them for yourself and you can write them down on like a little post-it note
Hmm.
and put it up on your mirror.
Okay.
And so when you're getting dressed every day, think about like your intention for wanting to express yourself And I think that will help bit by bit build your confidence.
I see. Thank you very much. And I believe you already have mentioned all the social media platforms that we can find you. And also all those links you can find into the description. You can follow Stephanie. And it was, I love the conversation that we have just now. It was such a unique one.
Me
Right.
too.
So
Thank
yeah,
you so much
m-
for having me.
of course, it's always a pleasure. And thank you very much to you guys too for joining us here on SHEEN Webisodes. And I'll see you with the next one. Bye bye.
Yeah.